we have a lot of huge problems. We have the nuclear problem in Korea. We have the nuclear problem in Iran. We have, of course, a whole array of problems, each of which, Afghanistan, and so forth. But then we have the financial issues. But they really are issues of the construction of a new world order. That's what this is about.
What is our common bond truly? Freedom!
Government regulations have strangled this nation. The more the EPA, which was put into place by Nixon, and all the combined alphabet soup, have strangled the American economy, strangled the worker, strangled the business owner, strangled the production of America. Through jobs overseas, through these unfair trade imbalances and these bullshit programs and trade agreements like NAFTA and GATT. And then you have, of course, you can't neglect the fact that it seems that they keep using these theories of keeping you safe and spending all this money to keep you safe and putting all these regulations together, and everything always happens and it ends up like not doing anything that it planned to do. It doesn't keep you any safer, but you just spent a bunch of money and we just built the debt up. But you feel better. It makes you feel better. It's like Edward Bernays, you know, this is the whole, they sell you on all of these things. We're going to keep you safe. And even when an industry, like the trucking industry, self-regulate to a satisfactory or above satisfactory rating, or better rating, the government thinks they can do better. And this is a big problem. This is what's happening. This is an example of how they are collectivizing and taking over what would be considered a free economy. They're turning this into a socialist communist country. I'm sorry to say, and it is the truth. This is what's happening. So now we have people like in the federal government thinking that they can do better than the private sector, and you know that that's just not true. The government can't do anything. They're giving them health care now, and the IRS is going to be dealing with this. Don't even get me started on the IRS. So the Department of Transportation's new rules forcing drivers to take longer breaks and cut back hours. The schedule will require taking 30-minute breaks starting on Monday in the first 8 hours of driving, cut the maximum work week to 70 hours from 82, and restart those 70 hours with a 34-hour break once a week. The rules are part of a program by the Obama administration to make highways safer by reducing the number of truck accidents and fatalities. That's what they're telling you. But the truth is, no, it's going to increase the cost of transportation. It's going to lower the wages of the truck driver. Or even more troubling is that we would have truckers pulled over on a more consistent basis for this problem to see if they've been sleeping, to check their monitoring or whatever, and all this does is slow down commerce. It will slow down commerce. It will also raise the cost of shipping. It's not rocket science. The government regulations and the federal regulators are out of control. In fact, in El Dorado, California, sheriffs fighting with the feds over the residents carrying guns. They don't want the residents to carry guns. There's a video on this. I'll play it in a second. The fight has the El Dorado County Sheriff planning to revoke a federal agency's enforcement power in his county is apparently over a resident's right to carry guns. Corey Ward is an avid outdoorsman who frequents the El Dorado National Forest, but he's concerned this paradise could turn into a police state. I have felt intimidated, he said. Yeah, this is unbelievable. So last week, he pulled the federal officer's power to enforce state laws in his jurisdiction effective July 22nd.
Well, tonight, CBS 13 is getting answers. Residents in one local county putting up a fight with federal officers.
They want to know what you're doing here, where you're going. Do we have any firearms?
It appears this fight is likely shaping up to be one over guns and the right to carry them. Laura Cole is in Placerville with a story you will see only on CBS 13.
It's highly unusual. A sheriff taking away Forest Service officers' ability to investigate and arrest for state crimes. But for the first time, we're getting a glimpse into why Sheriff John DeAugustini made the decision.
Look around you. It's absolutely beautiful.
Corey Ward is an avid outdoorsman who frequents the El Dorado National Forest. But he's concerned this paradise could turn into a police state.
I have felt intimidated.
He's got a long list of complaints against federal officers who patrol the forest.
They want to know what you're doing here, where you're going. Do we have any firearms?
And it appears this confrontation may come down to guns and the right to carry them and whether people are allowed to bring them on federal land. The Sheriff's Department says they've received more than 50 complaints from people who were just out enjoying the woods when they were stopped by an overly aggressive Forest Service officer. Some of those experiences have been posted on internet chat rooms, with bloggers demanding the El Dorado County Sheriff John DeAugustini get involved. And last week, he did, pulling the Forest Service officer's powers to enforce state laws.
It hasn't happened anywhere else in this state.
By phone, a U.S. Forest Service spokesperson says the agency met with the sheriff Wednesday, trying to work out their differences.
We hope that the relationship will continue and that we'll look for ways to improve.
But for Corey, he just wants to enjoy the forest without fearing the feds.
I mean, this is your land, this is mine, this is everybody's land. And we don't want to come here anymore.
Now, the Forest Service says this will affect their 7 officers who patrol the area, but they'll still be able to enforce federal laws and restrictions.
New changes are set to go into effect.
Really, first of all, Agenda 21 is... Okay, so then you can see how this thing is going. The guy's saying he admitted that he doesn't want to even go there anymore. Certainly that's the aspect. They want to, really, first of all, Agenda 21 is going to want to take everyone into the cities, urban areas. You can look this up. I don't make this up. This isn't my opinion. And they're working to this. So nobody's going to be living anywhere in the beauty of this great nation, the majestic scenes. They want those for themselves. And in this case, it's a serious fight. And I'm very happy that there's a sheriff planning to revoke this federal agency's enforcement power in his county, because we must defend our rights, or there'll be no country left to defend.
Every day when I close my eyes, I'm laughing. what's making the planet worse.
A lot of these kids come from bad gene pools. They don't have stable parents making good decisions.
Mercury-containing vaccines may help, not harm kids, according to 2 new studies in the journal Pediatrics. These new studies suggest that the opposite, that the preservatives may actually be associated with improved behavior and mental performance.
Fluoride in water is supposed to fight tooth decay, but could it also cause cancer?
Turns out the government had the right under U.S. law to conduct secret testing on the American public under specific conditions.
The government-sponsored experiments did take place at hospitals, universities, and military bases around our nation. Some were unethical, not only by today's standards, but by the standards of the time in which they were conducted.
But we are determined that those differences not prevent us from living together in peace. The interest that each of us has to maintain our independence and the security of our peoples, and the hope that each of us has to build a new world order.
We are in process of developing a whole series of techniques which will enable the controlling oligarchy to get people actually to love their servitude. People can be made to enjoy a state of affairs which, by any decent standard, they ought not to enjoy.
Republican and Democratic presidents alike, from Harry Truman to George Bush, stood for freedom and stood for certain propositions that would make America strong and healthy and grow the middle class and shrink poverty and stand against communism. And after 1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
Don't assume it was left by accident. If you see something, say something.
A special televised meeting of the New York-based Council on Foreign Relations provides a window to the real story.
The speaker, Vice President Dick Cheney, takes a question from David Rockefeller.
Vice President, I just enjoyed so much your whole speech, but I was particularly pleased that you gave such a strong endorsement for the free trade agreement for all the Americans. And I think it's absolutely essential for the strength of our economy.
Thank you very much, Richard, and I am delighted to be here in these new headquarters. I have been often to, the mothership in New York City, but it's good to have an outpost of the council right here down the street from the State Department. We get a lot of advice from the council, so this will mean I won't have this far to go to be told what we should be doing.
And look for more complex facial recognition programs that scan a crowd of thousands looking for a single terrorist. The latest home security locks use fingerprints to control deadbolts. And at the Jewel Osco grocery store in Chicago, some customers pay using their fingerprints. No paper or plastic.
You don't really need anything other than your hand, and you already got that with you.
Now the UN is backing a plan to change all of that and create a new global currency.